Hi everyone, it's Misty here. Hi, hello. Hello friend. Hi, hello, how are you? So my intent for this was, my first video back was to be a get ready with me, and it was like 2 hours long, and I was like, no one wants to watch that. I don't want to edit that. So I thought it would be easier for me to kind of just come on, film another update since it's been like August 29th since the last time I saw you guys, and give you an idea of what's happened since then, what's happening now, and what will be happening in the future, both personally and on this channel. So if you're new here, I am Misty. I am the Misty behind the Misty channel. I started this channel back in 2020 because I had stumbled upon project painting, and I think a lot of us in the pandemic were just kind of looking for something new to do, or a new hobby or something like that. And I'm a fat girl who loves makeup, and I have a lot of it. So project painting felt like a good kind of transition for me. Sorry, this eye. You may see the lid close. I have no control over it. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I do a lot of painting projects. I do a lot of painting content. I was working on 200 pans. Don't know if I'm gonna get there. I did hit pan today on my inner corner highlights, so we'll see. I just basically just had to take time away from makeup, from painting, consuming painting content. I am the type of person, if I have been doing something that I love and watching people doing what I love, and then I can no longer do it, I can't handle watching anybody else do it because it just makes me sad or angry or whatever. So I haven't been consuming painting content. I haven't been creating painting content. This is maybe the 8th time I've worn makeup since the end of August. So life just kind of skidded to a halt. And at the time I was like, things are heavy, I can't handle it anymore. And then every time I've said that, 2023 has been like, hold my beer, bitch. We're gonna make it even worse. And I have had, the last 2 weeks especially, have probably been some of the worst of my life. So when I left you guys, I had mentioned I was undergoing genetic testing. I don't remember, I didn't watch that video back, I probably should have. I don't remember if we talked about results at that time or if I was still waiting on results. So I met with a genetic counselor, or 1st of August-ish, and gave her, so let me rewind, TLDR. In 2016, October 2016, I went to bed fine, woke up the next morning not fine. Was dealing with a lot of muscle weakness in my upper arms and in my like hamstring thigh area. Had that, went through all sorts of testing, had a nerve conduction study done, had a brain MRI. Finally, I was able to get a diagnosis in July of 2017 from a neurologist, and she became my doctor going forward. So I was diagnosed with a neuromuscular junction disorder called myasthenia gravis, which is autoimmune. And I was getting treatment for that. In the fall of 2021, I started IVIG therapy, which is basically where you get antibodies through an IV. And I had just done my loading dose, and I was doing my first 2-day infusion when she called me and was like, just kidding, you don't have myasthenia gravis, you just have chronic fatigue syndrome. And a record scratch, and I said, the fuck? Because I didn't have a single symptom of chronic fatigue syndrome. And I just knew she was wrong. I just knew in my heart, and I know my body, I knew she was wrong. So I spent the first 6 months going to 2 different neurologists at UT Southwestern, and they both were very dismissive. The first one was like, well, it's probably a rare disease, but we don't deal with rare diseases, which is a lie. And then the other one was like, I was like, can we do a muscle biopsy? Can we do genetic testing? And he was like, I wouldn't even know what to test for. So this year, back in early spring, I paid for third-party genetic testing. I'm calling it that because I have no other way to describe it, but it's called sequencing.com, and there was a Facebook ad, and I looked into it, and it looked promising, so I paid for it and did it. And then I had all of this raw data and didn't know what to do with it. And it was actually my gynecologist that was like, you should probably see a genetic counselor. And then from there, I met with someone in the neurology department. I gave her all of my symptoms, and she was like, I honestly think this is like congenital myasthenic syndrome or a form of muscular dystrophy called FSHD. And I said, okay. So we did a neuromuscular panel that popped up the congenital myasthenic, but it was degree of unknown certainty, meaning they weren't sure how much of a mutation was on that gene, and we're unable to say if my symptoms, etc., were actually caused by that mutation. So I saw 2 more neurologists. One of them was the one I'd already seen in the past, and he's like, it's absolutely not this, Misty. He's like, it's not this, it's not neuromuscular, it's not neurological, it's not any of this, because none of the tests have shown anything. And I was like, okay. And I was just like, no. He was real snarky. He was like, well, you can get a second opinion if you want one. And I was like, you do not get to speak to me that way, mister. So in this, I also had an autoimmune panel done because I already have rheumatoid arthritis, and that popped up common variable immunodeficiency, CVID. And that's basically the absolute opposite of autoimmune. So I had her explain it to me, and if you know more than I do, please comment down below. So she explained it that each area of the body has a specific set of antibodies that are there to help fight infection. So like you may have some that are in your abdomen, and you have some in your arms, your chest, etc. So, and this is simplified because this is the way I understood it. She said an autoimmune response is when you produce too many of those antibodies and they don't have anywhere to go. So you may end up with your abdomen antibodies going to your joints, and they're not meant to be there. So they believe that your joints have like an infection or a disease or something that they have to fight. So it's basically your immune system is overrunning, and that's why you're subscribed. Most people are prescribed an immunosuppressant because they're trying to suppress those antibodies from attacking good and healthy cells, etc. Immunodeficiency is basically the opposite of that. It's where you don't produce enough antibodies. And so she said, you could walk in here with this as on your genetic test. And she's like, but you may not have it. It may not, it may be recessive, or you may not have it. She said, but you had your tonsils and adenoids out at a very early age. You tell me that you have chronic bronchitis, and you've had asthma, and you have sinus infections and all of these things. She's like, that leads me to believe that it is pathogenic and you do have it. So we started blood work. She tested for like tetanus antibody, like all the antibodies. And one of the pneumonia one came back lower, and she's like, okay, go get a pneumonia vaccine. And in 4 weeks, we'll do blood work and we'll see if that's affected your immune system at all. And that will kind of be the gauge on what we do going forward. And I was like, okay, whatever. So there's that. So after speaking to the neurologist the second time, and he was basically, it's nothing, I called my genetic counselor, made another appointment, and basically sobbed to her on the phone. And she's like, so here's what we can do. She said, we can cast the widest net and test everything. She said, but that's about $5,000, and insurance doesn't normally cover it. And I was like, we can't, no, we can't. We're still trying to recover from our $600 and $700 electric bills from this summer. So that is completely out of the question. And then she was like, we can do like an exome testing. So she said that will kind of give us an idea of some diseases that you have. And then she's like, we still have the option to do the FSHD testing. And I was like, okay. And she said, it'll be 6 to 8 weeks till you get this. So thinking like the end of December, 1st of January. I was like, okay, cool. So fast forward, I think you guys knew my grandmother was dying. I don't remember, can't remember. So things just kept getting heavy. Things just kept happening. I saw my psychiatrist was like, listen, I was like, I need a higher dose of my antidepressant. I said, I am not in the right headspace to change. I said, but I can't. I was like, I'm at the very end of a very frayed rope, and I feel like I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. So we bumped up my antidepressant, and then the Sunday after that, so I saw him on a Thursday, and then that Sunday, my therapist said that she was resigning, and she was stopping seeing patients completely, went to a completely different field. And I was like, this is the absolute worst time for you to leave and for me to have to get a new therapist. So there was that. So it's just been kind of one thing after the other. My grandmother ended up passing away on November 10th, so just a few weeks ago. November 12th was the anniversary of my father's passing in 2000. You guys may remember that he had 2020, not 2000. It was 2020, not 2000. He was working under a car and the jack slipped and he passed away that way. And that was his mom. So she died on the 10th. His anniversary was on the 12th. And then on the 13th, I met my new therapist. Rob and I were celebrating 14 years of being engaged, or like our engagement 14 years ago. He proposed on Friday the 13th in November 2009. And so that night I got a test result email from Quest, and I was like, and I didn't remember which one this was. I didn't know if this was the exome or if it was the other one. So I opened it up and it said positive, and that's the only thing I saw. I was like, what? Rob's like, what? I was like, I gotta go print this. I can't see it. So I went and printed it. And I said, does this say what I think it says? And he said, yes. He's like, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. And it was positive for FSHD, which is a particular form of muscular dystrophy. It's facioscapulohumeral muscular dystrophy. So basically face muscles, upper shoulder body muscles, kind of in your long abdomen area. It can go into your legs, etc. And I was just like, holy fuck. Like I was stunned. Like I sat on the couch the rest of the night just like this. And Rob's like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm feeling every fucking emotion. Every single emotion I am feeling right now. So the next morning I got up and I made an appointment with my genetic counselor so we could go over the results. And when I called her on Wednesday, I said, Sam, is this what it is? And she said, yeah. She said, she's like, you did it, Misty. You did this. You kept pushing. You kept trying. You kept coming back. And you knew something was wrong. And this is your diagnosis. And I can't remember if I cried on that phone call or not. Rob and I were doing it over speakerphone. But she's like, how are you feeling? And I was like, I'm feeling literally every single emotion. I filmed an update video for my At Home with Missy channel right after that. So if you want to go watch that, you can. It's like y'all have a diagnosis because it's been 7 years. My symptoms started in October of 2016. I started that channel of March of 2017 and was going through all of these doctor's appointments and kind of documenting all of that. So I was furious. I'm relieved that I have a diagnosis. I feel validated that my symptoms weren't just in my head, no matter how many times I was gaslit. And I was disappointed that there's no treatment. So the one thing that I've hoped for, even since 2016, I was like, I don't care if I have something, just let it be treatable. And unfortunately, I can do physical therapy, I can do occupational therapy, those kinds of things, but there's nothing, there's no pill, there's no any kind of therapy that I can do that will help me get better. So basically, like, I'll never drive again. I'll never be able to take a shower every day like I was hoping. Like, there are these, I was talking to my therapist about it yesterday. I was like, you know, there's no autonomy. And she's like, what does that mean to you? It's like being able to do things on my own. Like, I can't get dressed on my own. Like, if I drop something on the floor, I can't bend over, so Rob has to come behind me. So it's like, I just want to lessen his load and just be able to go and do what I want. And I can't drive. It's too dangerous. The last time I drove, I was bawling by the time I got home because my legs, like, I couldn't push in the pedals. I didn't feel like it was safe. So yeah, so anyway, I have this form of muscular dystrophy. And so like most, so here, okay, so I Googled it, and there are 2 MDA care centers in Dallas, Fort Worth, UT Southwestern Neurology Clinic and Texas Neurology. And I've had issues with both places, 3 of the doctors. So the 2 at UT Southwestern, one was like, it's, you know, it's probably a rare disease and we don't deal with rare diseases, which is bullshit. You're literally a research hospital, a teaching hospital. You have an ALS muscular dystrophy lab on the floor in the campus. And so that was a lie. And basically just dismissed me. The other one, he was like, you know, it's nothing, it's not neuromuscular. Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And then for the one at Texas Neurology, she's like, oh, it's probably fibro. But my rheumatologist said that neurologist always diagnoses people with fibro. And I was like, okay, so basically I am of the belief that I have been a victim of fat bias. And meaning that I didn't get more testing, etc., even though I asked for it and even though I pushed for it, because they saw a fat person who was having weakness in their arms and legs and thought, well, she's fat, duh. So I wanted to speak to the manager of the neurology clinic because I wanted to be able to doctor hop. Now, you're not normally, like a lot of these places don't allow that, meaning you can't see one doctor and then move to a second doctor and then keep moving. But I feel like I have a very good case for being able to switch doctors at UT Southwestern. Do I want to go back to UT Southwestern? Hell nah. Do I want to go to Texas Neurology? Hell nah. Do I want Rob have to drive me 2, 4, 6, 8 hours to go see a neurologist? Hell nah. So I called patient care, patient relations. I don't remember what it's called. Left a message. It was like, hey, I want to speak. I'm trying to reach a manager of the neurology clinic because of this. So I got a call back and a message. They were like, we don't do that here. And I was like, okay, you guys completely misunderstood my phone call because I am asking to speak to the manager of neurology and I don't have a way to contact them. So it was probably about 6 o'clock on that Wednesday night. I got a call back from them and my heart was like literally beating down in my chest, and my subconscious took over and I was like, I want to file a formal complaint against these 2 neurologists and the neurology clinic. And I was kind of stunned because that's not what I intended at all. Like consciously, that wasn't what I called for. But she's like, okay, so tell me what's going on. And I just laid it all out. And I said, either I'm a victim of fat bias, or they're incompetent. I said, because I don't understand how 2 neurologists who specialize in neuromuscular diseases and they're at an MDA care center didn't think to test me for muscular dystrophy. And this type of muscular dystrophy can be diagnosed with a muscle biopsy that I'd asked for. And I said, and on top of that, I said, that neurologist is in clinic 1 day a week. I said, I tried to call and make an appointment with them, and it was going to be almost 1.5 years. I said, I don't understand why he's in clinic 1 day a week and he has a full caseload of patients. Make it make sense. I was like, that's bullshit. So she's like, oh my gosh. She said, I apologize. She said, but I'm also a fat person. And she said, I just realized that I'm being gaslit by my own doctor. And I was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, but you're giving me the strength to go and fight it. And I was like, absolutely. I said, I've been gaslit. They've just I've been gaslit. I've been just basically told it's all in my head and there's really nothing wrong with me. It can't be neurological, it can't be neuromuscular when it is. I mean, muscular dystrophy is neurological, it is neuromuscular. It's very specific. And all of my symptoms, starting from when I was a kid, are contributed to this. So there's a child onset and adult onset, and you can kind of have both. And that's why it felt like my life literally changed overnight. So I said, what happens next? Nothing? And she's like, no. She's like, it'll go to the executive council. And she said, they'll do an investigation. They'll go through your file. And she said, it'll go to the manager of neurology. I said, the resolution I want is the ability to see a different neurologist at UT Southwestern. I said, that's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for compensation. I'm not asking for anything else. I just want to be able to switch doctors. And I want to see a doctor who is familiar with muscular dystrophy and this specific type of muscular dystrophy, because again, there's no treatment other than rehabilitation. So that was the Wednesday or Thursday before Thanksgiving. It's now the Tuesday after Thanksgiving and I haven't heard back. I'm going to give them till Friday and then I will be calling and raising hell again. So this is from that. So I started having this issue about 4 or 5 weeks ago where the muscle in my brow lid area is pulling down. It's not fluttering. It's like it'll literally pull my lid close. And it's not consistent. It does it, it's mostly more at night because I've been, reading and all those kinds of things, but it does still happen during the day. It was happening a while ago, not to the extent. So I went and saw my plastic surgeon yesterday and I was like, can we do anything about this, like with Botox or something? He's like, well, my concern is that, Botox freezes the muscle. So he's like, we may, do more harm than good, because, you know, it could freeze your lid open all the time, and then you're going to have to tape it and put in eye drops and all these other things. He said, so I would just, he said, now if it was like down all the time, he's like, yeah, we would consider something. He said, but it's not, he's like, there's really nothing, you know, to do about it. Just kind of live with it. And I was like, okay, great. So, yeah, so that's the health update. The channel update is that I will be coming back. Jessica and I actually have a project starting on December 12th. I think it's called Face the Music. I can't remember. If you're in the Fantastic Ladies group, there's a sign-up sheet. It's basically a roulette style project where we've come up with, I think there's close to 300 songs and prompts to go with, and you know, you're just going to do a few at a time. So if you're interested in that, check out the Fantastic Ladies group, or I will have an intro that goes up on the 12th. I didn't finish any of my other projects. Deck of painting fell off, like all of them fell off. I have been still trying to hit some pans, but I don't know that I'm going to make it to 200 pans, and I'm definitely not going to make 200 eyeshadow pans, which is a bummer because I was doing so well. I didn't finish at the Hop. That is a project that I had hoped to bring back, but it's probably going to have to come back either in February or March. We'll see. That one wasn't that popular, but some people did enjoy it. It was a 50s and 60s, kind of early, like late 50s, early 60s themed project, because that's my favorite decade in American history. Favorite. So doing that, Color Paint is coming back in January. That's Expensive is coming back the end of December. Painting Revolution. So those are my other projects that are, I call them evergreen, meaning that I intend to have those come back every single year. So for next year, I know that I'm going to be doing this music one. I know that I'm going to be doing Color Paint, Painting Revolution, and That's Expensive. Beyond that, oh, and I'm doing Throwback 30 and 50 Shades of Gold. So beyond that, I don't know about any other kind of, I don't want to say generic, but one where you can basically pan everything. So I don't know if I'll do much more than that. As far as eyeshadow projects, I'm bringing them all back except for Beauty A to Z. I've done that now 2 years in a row, and I feel like it served its purpose, but I don't want to try to fight to find eyeshadows that start with Z and Q and V and blah, blah, blah. And I don't even know that I'll do that project, though, like with beauty products, I don't know. So that one's not coming back, but I am doing Pan That Palette. I'm going to be following along with the Fantastic Ladies for an eyeshadow palette, and then I will be continuing painting face palette. Spoiler, I don't know if I'll do an update for this or not. I have been painting, this was brand new when we started the year. This is all I have left. Yes, it's messy because I put it on, but this is all I have left in this palette, and I'm pretty sure I will have this finished by the end of the year. So that will be an entire cream bronzer palette finished. If I do end up continuing on, this is the blush palette, and my goal so far has just been to hit pan. Oops, I have one more to hit pan in. And then I may work to finish this next year. I haven't really decided. Like, I haven't sat down and figured out what I'm going to do exactly. I am going to do Project Level Up because that's probably one of my favorite eyeshadow projects ever in my life. I finished level 2, the Michaela palette, but I haven't finished level 5, the palette from Udensai, and I don't think I will. I think I'm going to reboot all of them. I'm going to reboot Pan That Palette, pan those eyeshadows with Lainey again. Her prompts, I've really enjoyed that project, and it's been very successful for me. As far as challenges and stuff, I know Jessica's doing 5K again next year, and I may or may not. I haven't really decided. I still have a test left, the exome test, and when the genetic counselor, she's like, I forgot to tell you. She's like, this will tell you all of it. The type of cancer you may end up with, like all of it. Oh, and between all of this, I had a spot that we thought was skin cancer. I'm telling you guys, holy crap, but it came back benign. Thank God. But I still have the bump. It still hasn't completely cleared because she cut it out deep. But that came back to 9, so thank God. But I was like, I told her, I was like, I cannot handle it if I have skin cancer on top of everything else. I was like, I'm not going to be able to handle it. Like, I'm not going to be able to handle it. So yeah, so I want to do all of the eyeshadow projects. I don't know if I'm going to do any kind of challenges next year. I have a bin full of empties. I haven't finished as much as I'd like. Most of it is body care because I have been continuing to shower, but I haven't necessarily been continuing to wear makeup. So yeah, so that's kind of my goal, and I hope to get back to consuming painting content because like I said, I've watched a couple of Jessica's videos, but I haven't watched much more than that. I've been really like kind of following the Colleen Ballinger shit and the James Charles stuff, and it's like, I don't understand how we have two predators that still have a platform on YouTube, but I don't know. So anyway, I haven't been doing a lot of painting content. I haven't actually been watching a lot of YouTube either. You guys know I'm a voracious reader, like read, and I have been reading, but I've been struggling with my memory. I've been struggling with memory loss, and a lot of that is due to the amount of nerve pain medicine that I'm on. So I've been playing a lot of games on my phone, like Royal Match, like Gossip Harbor, and Gardenscapes, Homescapes, all of these different games, and just I told her, I was like, I'm just trying to keep my mind activated, because it's like I'm not doing any kind of critical thinking and stuff during the day because I'm at home really not doing much. So yeah, so we put up the Christmas tree. I will try to remember to put some photos up. I am going to do like a Christmas tree tour kind of video. If you guys are interested in that, I'll let you know when I put it up. But I have 2 trees up. I wanted to like decorate November 1st. And Rob is almost always like after Thanksgiving, but I said, I need some happy, I need some joy, and that would bring me joy. But we just didn't get around to it. Like the 1st of November was some bullcrap bullshit. I had a rhizotomy in my neck on the 3rd, which is a nerve ablation. So anyway, long story short, we just got the Christmas tree up on Sunday. We actually put up this thin white one. That was another thing. I've wanted a white Christmas tree for over a decade. And I was actually looking at white Christmas trees earlier in the season, and I got a Facebook memory that said, finally got my white tree. And that was last year. And I was like, hey baby. He's like, yeah. It's like, Facebook said I bought a white tree last year. And he said, what? I said, Facebook said I bought a white tree last year. And he's like, where would it be? I was like, I don't know. So he looked in, like, we have a Christmas closet, we call it, because that's where all the Christmas stuff is. And I was like, maybe it's in the attic. And he got up there and he's like, oh my God. And I laughed like a hyena for about 30 minutes that I've been shopping for a white Christmas tree while I had one in the attic. So we put that one up initially, but it's like 7 foot tall. And I was like, it's like a pencil tree. I was like, I don't like this. So I had him move that to the dining room, and we put up the big tree. It's 9 foot. I did the big topper. It's leaning a little bit because I lean a little bit. But yeah, so we got that up, and that I didn't put up the garland because I just didn't have the desire to have him take everything off the fireplace and everything off of the entertainment center and then put up garland and the other stuff. So maybe I'll have, feel like doing that next year, but I don't know. So yeah, so that's a very long update. Sorry about that. I wasn't intending it to be that, but I felt like I had a lot to tell you. So I probably won't be doing any finales, but I will be doing some intros. I will share with you my empties, those kinds of things. And like I said, I'm going to work on my inventory. I need to do that. I haven't really bought much makeup at all because I haven't wanted to do with it. The one thing I did buy, I actually filmed to get ready with me yesterday and things happened, but Inslee Reign, ENSLEYREIGN, is fantastic. This is their Strawberry Moon palette. It's so pretty. There's a whole roll of like multi-chromes, and there's some duochromes and some shimmers. This one I love. This one I love. This one I love. They're so pretty. I mean, I love all of them, but they're really pretty. Now this palette is stupid expensive. It's like $77 or $78, but you're getting like 6 multi-chromes. So it's about, and you're getting mattes and stuff like that. And the mattes are good. If you like the Cosmic Brushes mats, you'll like this mat. I think these are a little bit better. But yeah, so I bought that one. I bought, I had some credits on Macari that I used to buy one of those Odin's Eye palettes that they remade. Not the Christmas ones that they just brought out, but like the Solomano or whatever. I bought one of those. And then for Black Friday, I bought some stuff from Ulta, which is still not here. What the hell? And I bought a couple of, just 2 things from Glamlight. Is that it? Oh no, and I bought the new Inslee Rain palette, but that's really been about it. I haven't bought much makeup at all. Nothing has really caught my eye either, which is good. Which is good. I do plan on bringing back my eyeshadow bank. I do plan on bringing back like a low buy, no buy. I haven't sat down and figured all of that out yet. So I have things in mind. It's just executing them that I just haven't done yet. So yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Again, if you want to know more, you can check out my At Home with Misty channel. Thank you to Lucy and Carolyn and whoever else watches over there. I appreciate it. But yeah, so I am excited to be back. I'm ready to get back into makeup. I've always said that putting on makeup is kind of meditation for me. I'll turn on, like today I've been listening to the Murdaugh sentencing trial with Emily D. Baker. So that's not necessarily meditative, but it just gives me like an hour or so to sit down, just play with some makeup. It makes me happy. And yeah, so I'm trying to build a morning and an evening routine that includes like makeup and meditation and all of the things. But yeah, so that's it. That's a lot. I apologize if this video was an hour, but it is what it is at this point. Anyway, if you haven't already, and this is the first video you've seen of mine, hello, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I'm going to be doing a lot of painting projects going forward starting next month. And I absolutely love painting eyeshadows, and I'm pretty good at it. I think I made it to like 150 eyeshadow pans for 2023. I hit one today, but I don't know my current count. Isn't this eye look so pretty? Oh, I love it. I'm obsessed. I don't know that it necessarily goes with this shirt, but this is a shirt I got from Bloom Chick, and I like it. And I wanted to wear it. Oh, I know what else I bought. I bought a Strawberry Shortcake hoodie from Hot Topic. And I bought a Care Bears calendar. So I have just been latching on to all of this nostalgia to kind of just whatever makes me happy. I'm like, I don't care what anybody thinks. Whatever makes me happy is kind of this frame of mind I'm in right now. So yeah. All right, friends, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you haven't already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. You can follow me over at Instagram, which I haven't made any kind of content over there, at Misty Pans, but I hope to get back to that as well. All right, friends, I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.